Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet right here on Metal Messiah Radio. Tonight, I have a special guest on the show. I have Fernanda Lira back on the show of Nervosa. Welcome back, Fernanda.
Thank you so much, Jet, for having me back here on the show. One of my favorite shows ever. Of course, you're so sweet and so supportive to metal and to my band and everything. So thank you. Thank you for having me here again and for supporting all the other bands and promoting metal. That's just awesome. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Now, last time we talked was with your signing to Napalm Records and the release of your debut album, Victim of Yourself, back in 2014. And now here you are with your second album coming out in June, Agony. So what's life been like for you and the ladies after the release of your debut album?
It's just been like the craziest thing. Like if we would go back in time right now to that time when we chatted, I would never imagine all the stuff that's been happening would happen. Because, of course, we're a very hard-working band and everything, but I would never imagine things would go so fast for us, It's been, since we released the album, like, many awesome stuff happened. And because we're, like, just a poor Brazilian band and everything, and also we're a new band, so everything that happens to us really amazes us. I know it might sound kind of silly, like, but everything is like a dream come true ever since we last talked. Like, we've been, first of all, we've been, like, interviewed a lot, like, for example, by Burn Magazine and Metal Hammer, and lots of people, like, willing to support, like, you too, of course, and it's just been crazy. It's all new for us, and apart from that, there's also, of course, the crazy touring we've been doing, because that's the kind of tour we like to do. I don't know what's up with us. We're just crazy girls. So after that, we've been playing, like, of course, Brazil and South and Central America a lot, but also we had been to Europe for the first time. We did the crazy tour over there, like 60 gigs and 60 days, 51 gigs. And also after that, we played some great fest that we would never imagine it would happen so soon. And, other cool things is like, we've played with lots of bands that we liked, and like, for example, Sodom and Creator and Cannibal Corpse, and all the bands like kind of knew us, And I remember when we were in Brutal Assault, we saw Millie from Creator having lunch, and we were like, oh my God, look who's there. We were like all silly before our gig. And then when he was leaving, we couldn't help but going there and like, you know what? We like you so much. You're inspiration for, that fan kind of thing. And we were like, we are in a band. And he actually interrupted us and said, yeah, I know you're in a band. I know you are in a band, right? Nervosa, right? We were like almost crying, like, what? And it was like, of course I do. And your girls are great. And we were like, oh, man. And this happened like with all of these bands we played. Like, for example, we played 70K, and lots of the guys we worship, like, for example, the Vader guys and all other bands that play there. Like, Jeff fucking Waters was watching our show, we heard, and the Crisium guys and Moonspell, and everyone was there. That's the Epica guy. Like, it was just crazy, and all the great feedback from them. They were like, oh, you girls are badass. And, this is all new for us, and it happened pretty fast, like in 1.5 years since we last talked, and all of this shit happened. It's just crazy. And now, of course, we recorded the album in the U.S. and toured the U.S. for the first time. And, everything, I know it might sound silly again, but it's just a dream come true, like, especially how fast things are going. It's just crazy. We're really, really happy and thankful, really.
And during all this time, I mean, it sounds like you had a great time and you really appreciate everything that's been happening to you, but have you had any times where just like, you're like, what the fuck just happened? Or some kind of horrible thing happened, you're like, now what the fuck do we do?
Yeah, I have actually a very good, that's actually a bad example because it was super sad. But you know what? Before I say I have to say that we are really, really lucky because there's always like way more better stuff going on than bad stuff. I know touring is very complicated. Sometimes I think every time, I mean, like every tour you do, something crazy will happen. That's mandatory. If there's a band that tours and nothing crazy happens, then it's not normal. Like, so of course we've been like to many places, and but I have to be thankful because most of the time is like, wow, this is great. Like, for example, visiting stuff, going to the Grand Canyon and going to the Stonehenge in the UK, in between the shows, and getting to play all these fests and watching our favorite bands and stuff. So all of this is pretty cool. And of course, like getting to know other cultures and everything. But there's always something crazy going on. Like when we toured Europe, it was crazy. Like when we were about to hit Russia, we needed to take a train, and we had like 1 million luggages and, 10 minutes to get inside the train. So we needed to hire some fans to help us out in the middle of the train station. And we were like, fuck, we're going to lose the train and stuff. So things like that happen. Sometimes, car breaks, passports lost. Of course, this never happened to us, but I know it happens with bands. And sometimes you find out you have nowhere to sleep because no hotel has been booked, and you're like, fuck, what do we do? And or you go to the venue and it's the wrong address. This kind of stuff sometimes happens. But the worst thing that happened by far, and it was like crazy. I can't believe it was actually so bad and good at the same time. That was when we were in San Francisco. We got all our merch stolen. That was like, that was terrible. Like, I mean, here in Brazil, you know how criminality is and violence and stuff. So we're super careful with our stuff here. But when we were touring Europe and the US, we're kind of cool. We're kind of more laid back about this stuff because we always think it's like, it can be worse than, like where we play and where we live and everything. But so we left our stuff. Like, it was like pretty on the beginning of the tour. So we had like something around 250 CDs and like, well, a lot of T-shirts, something like, I don't know, 200 T-shirts or something like that. It was just a lot of things, like a lot of stuff. And then we left that on the car while we were doing something in the house we were staying. And then when we go downstairs, the car is broken, the glass are broken, and everything's gone. I mean, everything's gone. And Pichu's snare drum also was gone. Like, everything was gone. It was just the most terrifying thing because, we were in a day off, but on the next day we would play in another city, I guess San Jose or Chico or something. And we were desperate because you know what? People, especially for starting bands, like new bands like us, merch money is all the money the band got on tour, it's like, it's the money we used to eat, is the money. So if there's no merch, there's no money. And we were just like desperate, but we made like the craziest thing. The girls were super stressed, and our manager was trying to solve too. But I have this thing that I don't think the girls were more like, oh, we shouldn't have done that, we shouldn't have let that. But I don't think like that. I think like, okay, it happened, we're fucked. So what can we do? Think over stuff. It's not going to help at all. So let's try to stop. And I used because when you're in Brazil, we call something here that it's called like the Brazilian way of solving stuff. It's like negotiating stuff, being kind of, I don't know how to explain that. But then I decided like, I'm going to use that. And then I was right in the middle of the street. There was a lot of homeless people in the street there on the street we were staying. And then I started talking to them. And then I saw some of them wearing our T-shirts. I was kind of, oh my God. And they were like, do you want me to give you back? I was like, no, because it's good promotion anyway. And it will keep you warm. So keep it, please. Just tell me. Give me a clue of where it is. So I was doing like a CSI kind of thing, I was really like all detectives and talking to them, and the guys were really like, oh, that sucks. We don't do this kind of thing here because the homeless people who were there, differently from the home people here in Brazil, they were actually like, some of them work it and everything. They were just homeless, but they were like, you see, like no burglars or stuff. The guy said to me like, I won't let that happen here on my street. because, you know, we're good people. We're just homeless. We don't want the police here. So we have some rules. We don't kill, we don't rob, we don't break into houses or cars. So this is weird. It never happened here before. I was like, oh my God, I just need some help. And then I entered the house. And then when I was in the house, like for a while, I saw the guy like coming back with one of the guys, like this guy who was representing the you know, the street there. He came back with some of the t-shirts. It was like just like 10 missing. We got all of them back.
Wow.
He said he found that somewhere there, and then we called the police, and they found some more over there. And then on the next day, I called the police again, and then they found Pichu's snare drums in one of the tents. And then I started negotiating with all the homeless, like, if you hear anything about the CDs, please let me know. Tell them we can buy the CDs back. We just want, because they won't be able to sell, like, whoever took that. Mm-hmm. You know, we can buy back from them. I was really, you know, negotiating. And then we actually got it back. Like, it was like a guy that was new on the street. He was an addict. He said, he came apologize to me. He said, like, he didn't know what he was doing. I fucking cried. I was, like, totally sad. Like, oh, man, no, it's fine. I'm glad you gave me back. Just take care. Don't do that again. And, you know, and then they got all the boxes back, and the guy that were representing the street dad, I was like, how can I pay back to you, like, for finding who took the stuff and everything? He was like, you know what, just remember me. And then I cried even more. I was like, oh my God. And then of course I gave them some food and water and everything, and he asked for a t-shirt. I was like, if you want 10, I can give you 10, because I got like all of them back. So, you know, it was crazy. This was the most oh fuck moment in our whole career. It was just crazy, but everything, and even crazier is getting everything back.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
That's insane, because usually when somebody steals your stuff, you never see it again. That's usually the end, and that's almost like unbelievable.
Yeah, it's almost like I couldn't even believe when I was taking a shower, you know, to wash all the bad vibe away. I was like, I started laughing like, what the fuck is that? Like, what the fuck did I just do? I spent the whole night negotiating with the homeless people to get our stuff back, and actually got it back. It's just a crazy thing.
And it worked. Well, see, now you know, if this music thing doesn't ever work out, you could go be a CSI negotiator.
You see? That's why I watch that a lot, you know? I learn a lot about negotiating on that show.
Well, it seems to be working. Now, hey, when you go out to these shows, are you still stage diving and all that kind of stuff, or have you grown out of that a little bit now after all the injuries?
Oh, you know, exactly. Because of the injuries thing, you know, when I broke my head and Ratos de Porão show and then Crisium show, and I got all fucked up, I really had to quit that for a while. But, you know, that's the greatest proof that I really love my band, because we've been playing like some great fests, and I always feel like, you know, jumping off the stage like, fuck, I'll do that. Whatever. But then I think, like, if I have a broken finger or, you know, or whatever, the girls will kill me and I'll be fucked up and everyone will kill me. And then, you know, so I just was forced to quit that. But, you know, we've played some great fests and watch it like great concerts. And I always feel like going on stage and stage diving. It's stronger than me. I don't know what happens. I really feel like, oh my God, I would be so stage diving right now. I always tell the girls like, oh my God, I will so be there. But in respect to all the hard work we do and everything, of course I had to quit that. But I miss that a lot. So
well, that's good that you could stifle yourself and suppress the urge now.
Yeah. It was kind of hard, because I'm a thrasher by nature, so it's really, I'm not just saying, it's really like, really feel like doing that all the time.
So let's talk about the new album we have coming out on Napalm Records. Now, why did you go with the title Agony for this one?
You know what? We always write the lyrics about human aspects and all the fucked up things that human beings do, you know, and we talk about society problems, and especially coming from South America, that's a beautiful place, but, you know, it's all fucked up because politicians really do lots of bad stuff around here. So we always write about, you know, like the social problems and everything, and also on this album we explored a little bit more like some aspects from human behavior, like arrogance, hypocrisy, this kind of things. And we decided the title Agony, we wanted a title that was not related to any of the songs, like Victim of Yourself. We actually have a song entitled this way. We didn't want anything like that. We just would like to have like one word, like, for example, Arise from Sepultura. They have like this one word and it represents lots of stuff. So we wanted like one word that could represent everything that we talk about on the album. Even though it's not like a conceptual album, like it still talks about the same thing, about all the chaos that a human being creates to society and to himself and to his, to his brothers and everything. So we were thinking like, everything that we talk about here, it causes a lot of chaos, and chaos is actually represented in our artwork. There's a symbol of chaos there, and it actually brings a lot of agony, not only to the people. For example, when a politician robs money from people, it causes agony in poor society and everything. And when you do like, like when you're a bad person and you're acting bad onto other people, towards other people, you make people suffer, So I think agony is pretty much the result of all the bad things that a human being does. And that's exactly what we talk about. What we talk about, summarizing everything up, it's just agony would be the result of that. So that's the concept of the name, and also about the artwork. Like the artwork represents, a guy succumbing into like a pit, and he's actually falling in the pit he himself dug. It's like with all the shit he did, he's just suffering from the agony he caused. So that's basically like this. It's a little bit similar to the Victim of Yourself concept, but still a little different. But it's always related to human behavior and human aspects.
And now, how did you approach this album musically?
What do you mean?
I mean, did you just go with like, when you were writing it, you're like, were you going for something different when you?
Okay. Yeah, we were like, nothing was intentional. Like everything, we write music in a very organic, natural way. We don't actually establish how do we want to sound. Like we don't say like, okay, we need to sound like this. It's all really natural. But the general vibe, like among me and the girls, was like, we all wanted to do something more, a little bit rawer and a little bit more aggressive, because we were listening to a lot of first thrash and death metal, but more death metal. So we wanted to put a little bit of these influences, because it naturally came to our minds. Like when I was writing riffs, and when Tika was writing riffs, and when Pichu was writing drum lines, there was always this kind of aggressiveness that is not on Victim of Yourself, So we knew it would be more aggressive, but we didn't plan it to be like, okay, we need to sound like this, We just felt like writing more aggressive stuff, like with a little bit more death metal. And I think we kind of managed to do that in a good way. Yeah, I'm really happy.
Yeah, I am too. And so, I think this is also part of, just kind of growing and progressing as a band as well. And it's like you said, you've been out on tour and you see all these other bands and you're getting so influenced. I mean, how do you think as a band that you guys have grown and progressed throughout the years?
Well, I think we've progressed a lot, I think it's a natural process. When we released our new album and lots of people got to know us, it was cool. It's a good album, but still, it's a first album. How many bands are badass in a first album? Except, of course, for the bands from the 80s, that there's lots of awesome first albums. But yeah, but it's difficult, because usually when the bands like release their first work, they are raw musicians sometimes, or the band is still not that tight, or getting to know each other, or still getting to know their influences and their way of writing. So I think nowadays first albums are more experimental, are more like, just to see it's just getting there. I think the second album is just now, for example, this album, I think it really represents what Nervosa is. Now I think it really does, because now, we've been touring a lot, and these, of course, help us learn a lot on new techniques and everything, and we learned a lot we've played like 100, I don't know, even more gigs last year. So you end up like the road teaches you a lot. So you get more mature, not only musically speaking and writing wise, but also from the road, you get more experience, because touring is very enriching. So other cultures, you get to see other countries with different political and social views and situations. So all of these make you more mature, more, and I think we evolved because of that, of course, because of touring, and also because now we have Pichu. She was actually on the other book lab, but she didn't record the album because she was in the band, but she was studying the songs when we needed to record that. But now she was part of a very intense part of the writing process. So all the songs are like 33% from each member, So, and Pichu is she's a very aggressive and very technical drummer. So she kind of pushed us to writing more technical and writing more aggressive riffs, which I think it's cool because it contributed a lot to take the album to another level. And I think we pretty much did that, and we owe this a lot to her, because she's a really good one. So I think all of these all together, like the lots of touring and Pichu being technical, and the different things we've been listening. When we recorded Victim of Herself, I was listening to some kind of thing. Now I'm listening to a lot more technical thing, like Behemoth and Vader and stuff, and these ends up influencing us on writing different songs and whatever. So, but yeah, if we compare to what we were as a band on Victim of Yourself, I think we're like way more mature and experienced now. And I now consider us, as an active kind of professional band, because we're now, we know how to deal with stuff. We've been through a lot. For example, this merge thing, these ends up like teaching you stuff. So we always try to learn something from the bad and the good things that happen to the band. So that's why I think we're, way more mature, and, we've developed in many ways. We've improved ourselves in many ways.
So it's pretty safe to say that you are quite happy with the outcome of the album.
You see that I spoke like for 10 minutes about the album, so this must mean something. Yeah, but definitely, we are really, really, really happy. Like when we were writing the songs, we were celebrating that when we finished. We were like, oh my God, this is so cool. We would be listening. We would record it like poorly during the rehearsal sessions, and then we would listen to it at home, like, and showing to everyone, like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? Like to our boyfriends and everything. So we are really happy. And then when we listened, like after Andy Klassen mixed and mastered it, we were like, oh my God, this is exactly what we wanted to hear. We're really, like, I would say like 100% happy with the album. Really, really, really happy. I think the whole vibe of, recording it in the US and everything, this contributed a lot to make this album like the way we really wanted it to sound.
And where did you record it then, this one?
Yeah, we recorded the drums. We recorded in Ashland in Oregon, in Sylvia Massey's studio. She's a monster. She's produced like Tool and Prince and like Johnny Cash. What can you say about it? So her studio was just awesome. Pichu recorded there, and she was super happy. And on our way there, we have seen snow for our first time ever.
Oh boy.
We were like, yeah, everyone like hates it, and we were like, oh my God, this is so cool. I actually cried.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, I cried. I was like, this is so cool. And of course, then when we started recording the album there, Pichu was like, she recorded it in 2 days, like 12 songs in 2 days. And in like 7 hours sessions. She was just so happy and excited. We were excited to be there. And we recorded in Davis, California. And it was the same with me and Brika recording the guitars and vocals and bass guitars there, because, most of the bands that influenced me on having a band and being who I am are from California or, recorded albums in California, like, come on, Death Angel, Nuclear Assault and everything, like Steve fucking DiGiorgio and everything, like all of these people, like recording stuff there. And so it was really a dream come true to me. So I would wake up like every day at 7, and because if I wake up at 7 while I'm touring, for example, I will kill everyone around me. I really hate waking up early. But there we would wake up early and like smiling, like, come on, another day of recording. Then we would go to the studio and record for 10 hours and come back home tired but super fulfilled because we were just really happy to be, in California recording. It's a dream. I know it might sound, silly when you're not, I don't know, when you're not Brazilian, it's like, okay, you're just recording in California. But for us, we come from Brazil, and like recording an album outside of Brazil, especially in California, where most of the bands I listen to come from, it's like, it's just too much for my poor metalhead heart. So yeah, we were happy to record in the U.S.
Now, are you guys going to be, I'm assuming you guys are going to be doing some touring in support of the album?
Yes.
As usual. Any big fests?
Yeah, we're now we'll do the first shows from the new album now in Argentina next week for gigs there. And then we'll go to Europe in the beginning of June. And the day we released our album, which is in June 3rd, we'll be starting a tour there in Europe. We'll be staying there for June and July. Here we go again with the crazy tours, right? So far, it's 54 days and 41 shows. That's just ridiculous. We're crazy. But and after that, we'll go to the U.S. and do the East Coast. Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, we're gonna be doing the East Coast, and then we have, I think, like around 10 dates in Canada too. It's gonna be super cool going, both spots for the first time, and actually in Europe too. We'll be playing like at least 5 countries we haven't played before. It's gonna be super cool. And right after that, we'll come back home for like a week or 2 weeks or something like that. Then we'll head to Europe again for that crazy tour with Destruction and Flotsam and Jetsam.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and then we plan right after this Destruction tour, we plan to do a Russian tour. We're working on that already. Then we come home for Christmas. And then next year is going to be crazy. It's going to be all about touring again. We love to be on the road, and we love this album very much that we want to be playing to everyone in the world, every metalhead.
And it sounds like you're going to be.
I really hope so.
Okay, well, there you go. Brand new album from Brazilian thrashers Nervosa, out June 3rd on Napalm Records, called Agony. And Fernanda, thank you again so much for taking the time to come on the show tonight. And best of success on the new album and all that crazy touring you're going to be doing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much again, for the opportunity of having, of me being here and talking about our stuff and being silly, because I know I'm super silly and everything. But thank you for this opportunity. I'm always here rooting for you, wishing you the best, and thank you of course for everyone that's listening to us, and you and everyone who's listening. Keep on supporting metal, because if metal is alive, it's because of each and every one of us. We're the sole responsibles for keeping the metal legacy alive, right? So thank you so much, Chad.